Welcome back, my dear friends. I'm so glad to have you here again. Today, we are continuing our deep dive into the UGC NET English June 2025 paper, and this time we are taking on a section that often feels a little technical but is actually quite fascinating once you get into it: language and linguistics. We have got around 12 questions in this section this time, and as always, we are going to look at them one by one, breaking them down, understanding the concepts, and making sure they stick. So get ready to pause, think, and comment your answers below as we go. Let's make this an interactive learning session like we always do. Let's jump into the first question. Language and linguistics. This section had 12 questions, and we're going to walk through each one together just like we did in British literature. Here's your first question. According to Ferdinand de Saussure, what is the minimum number necessary to complete the speaking circuit? Now think carefully. Is it 1? Can someone complete the act of communication alone? Is it 2? A speaker and a listener in direct exchange? Could it be 3? Maybe involving a third-party observer or medium? Or is it 4? Perhaps considering feedback, noise, and extra elements. Pause the video, reflect on Saussure's theory, drop your answer in the comments below. The correct answer is 2. Ferdinand de Saussure, in his course in general linguistics, describes the speaking circuit as a process that involves two individuals, the speaker and the listener. One person forms a concept, converts it into language, and speaks it out loud. The other hears the sound and connects it to the same concept. This two-way link completes the circuit. It is a blend of mental, physical, and social processes, and without both sides, communication simply does not happen. That's question 1 done. Let us move to the next. This one blends history with linguistic curiosity and might surprise you. Who among the following Mughal rulers carried out an experiment for newborn babies to be raised in silence only to find that the children produced no speech at all? Now, is it Akbar, known for his deep interest in philosophy and interfaith dialogue? Could it be Bahadur Shah Jafar, the last Mughal emperor and a poet in his own right? Or maybe Aurangzeb, known more for orthodoxy than experimentation? Or is it Babur, the founder of the dynasty and writer of the Baburnama? Pause here and think. Who among them would be curious enough to test the roots of human language? Drop your answer in the comments. The correct answer is Akbar. According to Aini Akbari, written by Abul Fazl, Akbar conducted a unique experiment. He had a group of newborn babies raised in total silence without any spoken interaction. His goal was to find out if language was something divine and innate or something that came from social exposure. The result was striking. The children did not develop any language at all. No speech emerged. This confirmed that language is not automatic. It requires human contact, sound, and interaction. Let us continue. The next question is coming up. This one is about a famous observation that changed the course of linguistic history. Who made the following remark? The Sanskrit language, whatever be its antiquity, is of a wonderful structure, more perfect than the Greek, more copious than the Latin, and more exquisitely refined than either, yet bearing to both of them a stronger affinity, both in the roots of verbs and in the forms of grammar, than could possibly have been produced by accident. Now think. Was it Sir William Jones, often associated with the study of classical Indian languages? Could it be Patsy M. Lightbound, known for her work in second language acquisition? Was it Ferdinand de Saussure, the father of modern structural linguistics? Or Albert Sidney Hornby, best known for his practical approach to English teaching? Take a moment and lock in your answer. Drop it in the comments before we move on. The correct answer is Sir William Jones. He made this statement in his third discourse to the Asiatic Society on the 2nd of February, 1786 in Calcutta. This single remark is considered the foundation of comparative linguistics by highlighting the deep structural similarities between Sanskrit, Greek, and Latin. Jones suggested that they all came from a common source, what we now call the Proto-Indo-European language. His insight led to the birth of historical linguistics and changed how scholars understood the relationships between languages across continents. So remember, Sir William Jones is the one who opened the doors to comparative philology with this powerful observation. Let us move to the next question. This one dives into phonetics and how we classify certain sound combinations, especially when a vowel is followed by a glide. If the glide is distinct enough to be heard, the vowel plus glide will be treated as what? Now, is it a diphthong, a single syllable that glides from one vowel sound to another? Could it be a monophthong, just one steady vowel with no movement? Is it a sequence of two vowels, which sounds like a break, or two syllables? Or maybe a sequence of two consonants which doesn't seem to fit here at all? Pause for a moment, think about words like ride or loud. Then comment your answer below. The correct answer, based on phonetic theory, is a diphthong. A diphthong is a vowel sound that begins at one position and glides into another within the same syllable. If the glide is clearly heard and belongs to the same syllable, we call it a diphthong, not two vowels and not two separate syllables. Now, here's the twist. According to the UGC NET provisional answer key, the correct option was marked as a sequence of two vowels. This contradicts standard phonetic understanding and can be challenged. In linguistic terms, when a glide is distinct yet part of the same syllable, it forms a diphthong, not a vowel sequence. So this is one of your dropped or challenge-worthy questions. If you're planning to raise objections, this is a strong candidate. Here comes question 5. And this one is about the branch of linguistics that explores how we actually use and understand language, not just in theory, but in the real living mind. The study of how human beings acquire language and how we use language to speak and understand is called what? Now, is it theoretical linguistics which deals with the structure of language itself? Could it be sociolinguistics, the study of how language interacts with society and culture? Is it applied linguistics where theory meets practice in areas like language teaching and translation? Or is it psycholinguistics which focused on what's happening inside the human mind? Pause the video here, reflect on what part of linguistics actually studies speech production, comprehension, and the mental processes behind them. Then comment your answer. The correct answer is psycholinguistics. This branch focuses on how we acquire, produce, and process language. It brings together ideas from linguistics and cognitive psychology. It studies how children learn their first language, how adults learn a second one, how we store and retrieve vocabulary, and what happens in our brain when we speak or listen. Major thinkers in this field include Noam Chomsky, who introduced the idea of universal grammar, and Steven Pinker, who emphasized the cognitive and evolutionary roots of language. The other options, though important, focus elsewhere. Theoretical linguistics is about rules and systems. Sociolinguistics is about language in social context. Applied linguistics solves real-world problems, but psycholinguistics is the one that digs into how our mind works with language. Let us move to question 6. This one is about the stages children go through when acquiring their first language, something every language teacher and linguist must know inside out. Arrange the following stages of first language acquisition in chronological order: the two-word stage, telegraphic speech, the one-word stage, cooing and babbling. Now think carefully. Does speech begin with full words or soft sounds? When do babies start combining words? Is it cooing, then babbling, then words, or is it the other way around? Let us look at the options. Pause here if you need a moment, then comment your answer below. The correct answer is option 4. Let us break that down. It all starts with cooing, around 6 to 8 weeks of age. At this stage, babies produce soft, vowel-like sounds. Next comes babbling, around 4 to 6 months, with repeated consonant-vowel combinations like baba or mama. After that, we enter the one-word stage, usually around 12 months, where a single word carries a full meaning. Then comes the two-word stage, around 18 to 24 months, where children begin putting two words together like mummy eat or baby sleep. Finally, we reach telegraphic speech around 2 to 2.5 years. Here, Children speak in short phrases that skip function words but convey clear meaning like go park or want toy. So remember this order: cooing, babbling, one word, two word, and telegraphic. That's the natural path language takes in our earliest years. Let us take a look at question number 7. This one asks us to identify the correct definitions of language, a fundamental question, but with subtle distinctions in each option. Choose the correct definitions of language. Option A says language uses symbols that are primarily vocal but may also be visual and includes subfields like phonetics, phonology, writing systems, orthography, and nonverbal communication. Option B defines language as a tool for communication, including subfields like sentence processing, pragmatics, discourse analysis, and conversation analysis. Option C focuses on symbols with conventional meanings and lists subfields like universal grammar, innateness, emergentism, neurolinguistics, and cross-cultural analysis. Option D offers a general definition, a systematic means of communicating ideas or feelings using conventional signs, sounds, gestures, or marks with shared meanings. Option E says language has region-specific characteristics and lists subfields like phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, discourse analysis, and lexical analysis. So which combination is correct? Pause here if needed and drop your answer in the comments. The most accurate answer is A, B, and D only. Let us see why. Option A is correct. Language is symbolic. While it is primarily vocal, it can also be visual. Fields like phonetics, orthography, and even nonverbal communication do fall under the study of language systems. Option B is also correct. Communication is one of the core purposes of language, and the subfields listed here deal with how language functions in real-life interaction and processing. Option D is a standard and widely accepted definition describing language as a systematic tool using signs or sounds that carry shared meaning. Option C, although partially true in its mention of symbolic meaning, mixes traditional linguistic subfields with theoretical frameworks like emergentism and universal grammar. These are more aligned with cognitive science and language theory. Option E incorrectly narrows language by calling it region-specific. While regional variation exists, language itself is not defined by geography. So this one misrepresents the concept. So remember, A, B, and D give us the most accurate and balanced definitions of language. Let us move on to question 8 in the language and linguistics section. This one is all about matching important language-related events with their correct years, something every serious aspirant should be familiar with. Choose the correct events corresponding with their year. One option says the Official Languages Commission submitted its report in the year 1936. Another says the first English language teaching institute was established in Allahabad in 1954. Then we have the Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages founded in Hyderabad in 1958. Another statement claims the National Policy on Education came in 1960. And finally, we have the National Education Policy and Program of Action launched in 1986. Now, which of these are factually accurate? Pause for a moment. Think through these timelines and leave your answer in the comments. The correct answer is option 1, B, C, and E only. Let us break it down. The first English Language Teaching Institute, commonly known as ELTI, was established in Allahabad in the year 1954. The Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages, now called the English and Foreign Languages University, was founded in Hyderabad in 1958. And both the National Education Policy and the Program of Action were launched together in 1986, marking a major shift in India's education planning. The other statements are incorrect. The Official Languages Commission was formed in 1955, not in 1936. And the first National Policy on Education was announced in 1968, not in 1960. Let's move to the next one. And this is where we test your grip on figures of speech and rhetorical devices. Read the following statements carefully and choose the correct ones. Statement A says, A mixed metaphor conjoins two or more obviously diverse metaphoric vehicles. Statement B says, in metonymy, a part of something is used to signify the whole. Statement C says, to scan a passage of verse is to go through it line by line to analyze its content, theme, and diction. Statement D says, the term kenning denotes the recurrent use in poems written in old Germanic languages of a descriptive phrase in place of the ordinary name for something. Statement E says, figurative language is often divided into two categories, tropes and schemes. Now tell me, which combination is accurate? Take a second to evaluate. Here's your correct answer, option 1, A, D, and E only. Let's verify that together. Statement A is correct. A mixed metaphor occurs when two unrelated metaphors get tangled up together, often leading to confusing or humorous imagery. For instance, saying, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Now imagine mixing them. It becomes a classic case of a mixed metaphor. Statement D is also correct. The word kenning refers to a figurative, often poetic expression found in Old English or Norse literature. Phrases like whale road for sea or bone house for body are prime examples. Statement E is perfectly valid. Figurative language indeed divides into tropes, which change the meaning of words, and schemes, which play with the structure or arrangement of words. Now let's see why the other two are incorrect. Statement B is wrong because what it describes is synecdoche, not metonymy. In synecdoche, a part represents the whole, like using hands to mean workers. In contrast, metonymy works by association, like saying the crown to mean the monarchy. Statement C is also incorrect. To scan a poem is not about analyzing its theme or diction. Scansion is all about rhythm and meter marking, stresses, syllables, and feet in each line. Let me know how many you've got right so far, and we'll head to the next. Next up, an important question on the scope of linguistics. Let's walk through this one carefully. Which of the following statements are correct about the scope of linguistics? Statement A says, to describe and trace the history of all observable languages. Statement B says, to determine the forces that are permanently and universally at work in all languages. Statement C says, to study manifestations of civilized human speech only. Statement D says, to consider only correct speech and flowery language. Statement E says, to delimit and define itself. Now the options given are, think about it for a moment. The correct answer is option 1, A, B, and E only. Let's understand why. Statement A is correct. Describing and tracing the history of observable languages is a core aspect of linguistics, especially in historical and comparative linguistics. Linguists analyze how languages evolve over time, both structurally and socially. Statement B is also correct. Linguistics seeks to uncover universal patterns and principles across all languages, whether it's how sounds change, how syntax works, or how meaning is constructed. This quest for universal features is central to modern linguistic theory. Statement C is incorrect. Linguistics doesn't limit itself to what is called civilized speech. In fact, it studies all varieties of human language, including regional dialects, colloquial speech, pidgins, creoles, even non-verbal languages like sign language. There's no hierarchy. All language is worthy of study. Statement D is also incorrect. Linguistics is not concerned with judging whether speech is correct or elegant. That's the job of grammarians or stylists. Linguistics is descriptive, not prescriptive. It observes, records, and analyzes language as it is used by real people in real situations. Statement E is correct. Yes, the field of linguistics must define and delimit its own scope. It identifies subfields such as phonetics, phonology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics, and determines its own scientific methods for inquiry and analysis. So, once again, the right combination is A, B, and E only. Feeling confident? Let's keep going. Let's match some linguistic terms with their meanings, and this one is all about Pigeon, Creole, idiolect and register. So let's begin. Is Pigeon a language used only in newspapers? Or is it a contact language that borrows from two or more tongues for basic communication? It's the second one. A pidgin is a simplified speech form that arises when speakers of different languages need to talk. It's often seen in trade or colonial contexts and is not a mother tongue. Now, what about Creole? Is it just a fancy dialect? Or does it grow out of a pidgin and become a fully developed native language? Yes, exactly. Creole evolves when children grow up speaking a pidgin as their first language. It becomes grammatically rich and stable. And historically, it's linked to regions like the Caribbean, Africa, and parts of the Indian Ocean. Coming to idiolect, is that a social variety of language? Or the unique speech style of an individual? Right again. Idiolect is your personal language fingerprint. The way you say things, the words you prefer, even the little quirks in pronunciation, that's your idiolect. And finally, register. Is it a place to sign your name? Or is it about how we adjust our language depending on context? Spot on. Register refers to the variation in language we use in different situations. The way you talk in a classroom, write in a newspaper, pray in a temple, all these are different registers. So, let's lock the final matches. Pigeon. Contact language drawn from multiple sources. Creole language that originated in colonial tropics and became native. Idiolect, the personal dialect of an individual. Register, socially determined variation of language use. Alright, time for the final match the list question from this section. Let's talk about 4 core linguistic terms: collocation, inflected, polarity, and generative. Let's take them one by one and link them to their meanings. We begin with collocation. Now think of how often you hear phrases like strong tea or heavy rain. We never say powerful tea. That's because certain words naturally go together. That natural combination is called collocation. So the match here is collocation, a habitual association between particular words. Next comes inflected. This one's all about grammar and word form. For example, walk, walks, walked, and walking. All of these are inflected forms. So the right match is inflected, a term in which a word takes various forms to show its grammatical role. Now let's move to polarity. Simple yet important. It refers to the contrast between positive and negative meanings in sentences, like he is here versus he is not here. Positive and negative, this is polarity. So we match polarity, a term for the contrast between positive and negative in sentences, clauses, and phrases. And finally, generative. This one was popularized by Noam Chomsky in the 1960s. Borrowed from mathematics, it gave rise to the idea of generative grammar, which means a set of rules that can generate all the possible grammatical sentences in a language. So the match is generative, a term borrowed in the 1960s from mathematics into linguistics by Noam Chomsky. Let's recap your final match. Collocation, habitual word association. Inflected, word forms that mark grammar. Polarity, positive and negative contrast. Generative, Chomsky's linguistic model from the 1960s. That wraps up our language and linguistics section. Let us know how many you got right in the comments. And if you haven't joined yet, we're starting the full course on 15th July. Enroll now at just $2,499 for the entire year. See you in the next video where we dive into literary criticism and theory. So thank you so much for staying till the end. I am sure it was helpful for you all, and it will help you through your preparation for the next exam. Okay? So we'll come soon again with a new video. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.